Ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to talk to you about something that hits close to home, something we all deal with but rarely confront head on. It's about the people we call narcissists, the ones who take and take with no intention of ever giving back, the ones who use you, manipulate you, make you feel small just to feed their own insatiable need for validation. And let me tell you right now, it's time we stop being kind to these people. Kindness is often misunderstood in our society. Too many people equate being kind with being weak, submissive, or easily taken advantage of. But let's set the record straight. Kindness is not synonymous with weakness. It is a strength that reflects emotional intelligence, self-awareness, and the ability to empathize with others. When you are kind, it means you are willing to show compassion, extend understanding, and offer help to others. But here's the thing, kindness does not mean that you have to accept mistreatment or tolerate behaviors that drain or harm you. And that is where many of us, especially when dealing with narcissists, go wrong. People often confuse being kind with allowing others to walk all over them. This misconception leads to toxic relationships where one party continually gives while the other takes without any intention of reciprocation. Narcissists are prime examples of people who thrive on this imbalance. They often portray themselves as deserving of special treatment, and they manipulate your kindness to feed their insatiable need for validation. They make you believe that the more you give, the more you're fulfilling a noble role. And that's when things start to get unhealthy. Being kind to a narcissist means giving them what they want, your time, energy, and emotional resources, without any acknowledgement or care for what you need. Over time, this dynamic can make you feel empty, unseen, and unimportant. Narcissists do not give back, they take, and they don't care about the toll it takes on you. They are skilled at making you feel like your kindness is something you owe them, not something you offer freely. It's crucial to recognize that true kindness comes from a place of strength, not from a place of neediness or insecurity. When you show kindness, you're offering something that comes from within you, but it should always be done with discernment. It's not about tolerating bad behavior or turning a blind eye to mistreatment. True kindness involves knowing when to say no, when to protect your boundaries, and when to walk away. You don't have to continue being kind to someone who uses that kindness as a weapon to manipulate or control you. In fact, continuing to offer kindness to a narcissist only perpetuates the cycle of manipulation. What many people fail to understand is that kindness in the right context is a powerful tool. It can open doors, create opportunities for growth, and foster genuine connections with others. But when it's extended to the wrong person, especially someone who has no intention of giving back, it becomes a tool for exploitation. Being kind to a narcissist is like feeding a fire that will only continue to burn and consume without ever being satisfied. So when you are kind, do it with intention. Offer your compassion and care to those who reciprocate it. Do not waste your energy on people who will drain you dry without ever appreciating what you bring to the table. Being kind is a choice, not a weakness. When you recognize that your kindness is valuable, you will stop wasting it on people who do not deserve it. Kindness is a strength, and it should be directed toward building meaningful, respectful relationships, not towards enabling toxic behavior. Narcissists are not interested in relationships based on mutual give and take. Instead, they view interactions primarily through the lens of what they can gain from others. A narcissist world revolves around their own needs, desires, and ego, and they manipulate those around them to fulfill these requirements. They will take, and take, but never with the intention of giving anything meaningful in return. The imbalance they create in relationships is one of their defining characteristics. One of the most insidious aspects of a narcissist's behavior is how they project a facade of charm, empathy, and vulnerability to lure people in. At first, you might believe they genuinely care about you. They may show attention, praise, or affection, but this attention is often shallow and conditional. They are not offering kindness because they want to connect with you or share a genuine bond. No, their kindness is often part of a well-thought-out strategy designed to secure what they need from you. The minute they get what they want, whether it's admiration, resources, attention, or power, they'll shift their focus elsewhere, leaving you feeling empty and unimportant. A narcissist's need for validation is endless. They have a deep internal insecurity that they constantly try to fill by seeking external admiration and approval. This is where you come in. They will latch onto you, use you, and drain you of any positive energy you might offer, but in return, they will give nothing of substance. Their self-centeredness prevents them from seeing or caring about your needs, and the relationship becomes a one-sided affair. They might take your time, your emotional support, your help, and your loyalty, but when it comes time for them to return the favor, they either fall short or disappear altogether. Their inability to offer anything in return creates a sense of perpetual imbalance that leaves you feeling like your efforts are always going unappreciated. In relationships with narcissists, you're not dealing with someone who wants to build something genuine. They are not interested in reciprocal exchanges where both parties benefit. Instead, they see every relationship as a transaction, an opportunity to extract what they can. This could mean emotional energy, material resources, or validation for their fragile self-esteem. They want to feel superior, and as long as they're getting what they need from you, they'll continue to take without hesitation. The narcissist's lack of genuine empathy makes it impossible for them to reciprocate kindness in a meaningful way. They might mimic empathy or express concern, but their actions rarely align with their words. They are experts at playing the role of a caring person, but their behavior tells a very different story. They will always find ways to make you feel like you're not giving enough, even when you've already given everything you have to offer. This imbalance takes its toll over time. As the narcissist continues to take without giving, you're left emotionally exhausted, worn down by the constant drain on your energy. You may start to feel that your needs, desires, and feelings don't matter. That's because in the eyes of a narcissist, they don't. You are merely a tool for them to use, not a person they want to nurture and protect. Understanding that narcissists are takers and not givers is essential in breaking free from these toxic dynamics. Once you realize that they will never give you what you truly need, respect, care, and reciprocity, you can begin to protect your emotional energy and stop investing in relationships where you are the only one doing the giving. Empathy is often seen as one of our greatest human qualities, an ability to understand and share the feelings of others. It's the foundation of meaningful connections and healthy relationships. But for those who are in relationships with narcissists, empathy can become a liability, an emotional trap that gets exploited and used against them. Narcissists recognize this vulnerability and will manipulate your empathy to maintain control over you. They don't value your empathy in the way a healthy person would. Instead, they view it as a tool to get what they want, whether it's validation, admiration, or resources. Empathy, when it's genuine, allows us to connect deeply with others, offer support, and create a sense of community. It's a beautiful thing when given and received in a balanced and respectful way. But narcissists operate from a place of emotional manipulation. They don't seek empathy for connection. They seek it to feed their insatiable ego. They will tell you exactly what you want to hear, present themselves as misunderstood, vulnerable, or deserving of your attention, all in an attempt to draw you into their web. They know that you will want to help, comfort, or offer them understanding. What they don't tell you is that they have no intention of ever reciprocating that empathy or offering you the same support in return. The narcissist's primary concern is their own needs, and they have no real interest in how you feel unless it benefits them in some way. They are not interested in building a partnership based on mutual understanding, respect, and emotional growth. Instead, they use your empathy as a way to manipulate you into fulfilling their desires. They will demand your emotional labor, but when it comes to your own needs, they either ignore them or downplay them. They might act as though they care, but once their own needs are met, they're likely to withdraw, leaving you feeling emotionally depleted. When you're empathetic, you're often looking for ways to make people feel seen and understood, but narcissists will twist this natural instinct to make you feel guilty for not giving them enough. They will prey on your desire to make others feel good and use your empathy to drain you of your time, energy, and even your self-worth. This kind of behavior leads to an emotional imbalance in the relationship, one where you constantly give, but the narcissist takes without any real acknowledgement of what you've done. Your empathy becomes a weapon in their hands, and without recognizing this dynamic, you may find yourself constantly pouring from an empty cup. As the relationship continues, you may begin to feel like your own feelings and needs are secondary. This emotional depletion can leave you feeling confused and even questioning your own worth. You might think that you're the problem, that you're not doing enough to make the narcissist happy. But the truth is, no matter how much you give, It will never be enough. Narcissists are incapable of genuine emotional reciprocity because their sense of self is fragile and built on external validation, not internal fulfillment. To protect yourself, you need to recognize the difference between healthy empathy and being emotionally manipulated. Empathy should not be about sacrificing your own well-being for the sake of someone else's inflated ego. Healthy empathy is about mutual understanding and support, not exploitation. By understanding the ways narcissists manipulate your kindness and empathy, you can begin to establish boundaries and refuse to allow them to use your compassion as a tool for their own selfish gain. You deserve to be treated with the same level of empathy, respect, and care that you give to others. And it's essential to stop enabling behavior that seeks to undermine that balance.
Your emotional and mental energy are among the most valuable resources you have. In today's fast-paced, demanding world, it's easy to overlook just how much of a toll relationships can take on our mental health. We often give our time and energy without fully recognizing the cost, especially when we're dealing with individuals who do not have the capacity to appreciate or reciprocate our efforts. Narcissists are particularly adept at draining your emotional reserves, as they have no intention of giving anything back. Their constant need for admiration, validation, and control leaves you constantly serving their ego without receiving anything substantial in return. When you're in a relationship with a narcissist, your emotional energy becomes a currency that they exploit for their own benefit. You give them your time, your patience, and your understanding, and in return, you may feel like you're being left empty and unappreciated. Narcissists know how to create an illusion of emotional connection, pulling you in with moments of affection or praise only to withdraw once you've invested yourself. Over time, these back and forth dynamics leave you feeling exhausted, mentally drained, and emotionally fragile. The narcissist moves on to the next source of admiration while you're left to pick up the pieces of your energy, wondering where it all went. The problem with investing too much of your emotional and mental energy into a narcissist is that you're often left with nothing for yourself. Your needs become secondary, and your well-being is compromised. It's easy to lose sight of what you need and want when you're constantly focused on someone who is never satisfied. They demand your attention, but the minute you take time for yourself or try to focus on your own needs, they make you feel guilty or unimportant. This creates an unhealthy dynamic where you continuously give and the narcissist continuously takes. It's critical to recognize the value of your emotional and mental well-being. These aspects of yourself are not endless. They require time for rest, self-care, and rejuvenation. When you invest in someone who isn't interested in giving back, you deplete yourself in ways that are often hard to recover from. Narcissists are skilled at convincing you that you're the problem or that you should be doing more. This manipulation can lead to self-doubt and a diminished sense of self-worth, causing you to continue to give even when you feel drained. However, the more you give, the more you lose touch with your own needs, leaving you vulnerable to emotional burnout. Recognizing the importance of your mental and emotional energy means setting boundaries with individuals who do not respect or value them. You need to understand that your emotional well-being is not a bargaining chip to be used and exploited. Setting boundaries isn't about being cold or unkind. It's about preserving your own sense of self and making sure you have enough energy left to care for yourself. When you stop giving your energy to someone who only takes, you create space to invest in relationships where mutual respect, care, and balance exist. Learning to prioritize your mental and emotional health also means recognizing when it's time to walk away from relationships that are not serving you. You can't continue to pour from an empty cup. And if you allow a narcissist to drain your energy, you'll find yourself with nothing left to give to the people who truly matter in your life. The emotional and mental toll that comes from constantly trying to meet the needs of a narcissist is not worth the sacrifice. You deserve to protect your peace, to take care of your well-being, and to surround yourself with people who appreciate your energy rather than use it as a means to an end. By valuing your own emotional energy, you begin to reclaim control over your life, freeing yourself from the toxic cycles of give and take that narcissists impose. When you make your well-being a priority, you create a healthier, more balanced life that allows you to invest in relationships that bring you joy, fulfillment, and true connection. Walking away from a narcissist is one of the most empowering things you can do for yourself. It's not about giving up, and it's certainly not about quitting on a relationship. It's about recognizing that your peace, mental health, and well-being are worth more than staying trapped in a toxic dynamic. Many people feel guilty or conflicted about leaving a narcissistic relationship, Often because narcissists are masters of manipulation and emotional control. They make you feel like you're abandoning them or not doing enough to make the relationship work. But the truth is, you are walking away not out of failure, but out of self-preservation. Narcissists are incredibly skilled at creating a false sense of obligation in their relationships. They manipulate your emotions, making you feel like you owe them something, your time, your energy, your loyalty. They may guilt trip you or make you believe that if you leave, you are the one who is wrong. However, this manipulation is exactly why it's important to recognize that walking away is not only okay, but it is often the healthiest choice you can make. They have trained you to believe that your needs are secondary to theirs. But when you break free from this cycle, you reclaim your life and put your emotional health first. One of the main reasons why walking away is so crucial is because narcissists will never change unless they want to, and most of the time, they don't. Narcissists are not open to growth or self-reflection. Their behavior is deeply ingrained in their need for control and admiration, and they are often unwilling to acknowledge how they harm others. If you've been with a narcissist for any length of time, you may have tried to change their behavior, hoping that with enough love, patience, or understanding, they would see the light. But this effort is usually in vain. Narcissists do not have the emotional capacity to change in the way you hope. They are not looking for mutual growth or emotional depth in the relationship. They are looking for validation and power. Staying in the relationship then only keeps you stuck in a cycle of frustration and disappointment. You keep hoping they'll change, but they don't. The longer you stay, the more you enable their behavior, and the more you lose yourself in the process. It becomes exhausting, both physically and emotionally. You begin to lose sight of your own needs, and your sense of self-worth erodes under the weight of constant emotional manipulation. Walking away is an act of self-respect and self-care. It is an acknowledgement that your time and energy deserve to be spent on relationships that are reciprocal and fulfilling, not toxic and draining. Walking away also frees you from the guilt and anxiety that often accompany a narcissistic relationship. Narcissists can make you feel like you're responsible for their happiness, or that without you, they would fail. They will try to convince you that they need you, but the reality is that they need you for validation, not because they truly care about your well-being. Once you understand this dynamic, you can start to free yourself from the guilt of not meeting their impossible expectations. You deserve to be in relationships where you are valued for who you are, not for what you can provide to feed someone else's ego. There is strength in walking away from a narcissist. It may feel difficult at first, especially if the relationship has been long-standing, but every step you take away from them is a step toward reclaiming your life. It is a way of saying, I deserve more than this. I deserve respect, care, and mutual love. Walking away is not about being cold or callous. It's about being strong enough to recognize when a relationship is no longer serving your growth, your peace, or your happiness. It's about making the conscious decision to prioritize yourself and your emotional well-being over the toxic, one-sided dynamic that the narcissist has created. Ultimately, walking away is the first step toward healing. It's an act of freedom. It's not the end of your story, but the beginning of a new chapter, one where you learn to trust yourself, rebuild your self-worth, and surround yourself with people who truly see and value you. One of the most important realizations when dealing with a narcissist is that you cannot change them. Narcissists have deeply ingrained patterns of behavior that stem from their need for validation, admiration, and control. They are not interested in personal growth or transformation in the way that you may hope. No matter how much love, care, or patience you invest, a narcissist is unlikely to change unless they make a conscious decision to do so, something that rarely happens. This realization can be painful, especially if you've been trying for a long time to fix the relationship or help them see their flaws. However, understanding this truth is crucial for protecting yourself from further emotional harm. Narcissists are driven by a deep insecurity, which they mask with a false sense of superiority and entitlement. Their behavior is rooted in a fragile self-esteem that they constantly seek to bolster through external validation. Whether it's through praise, admiration, or control, they are always looking to maintain the illusion of perfection. This need for validation often leads them to manipulate the people around them, making others feel responsible for their emotional well-being. When you enter a relationship with a narcissist, you are not simply engaging with another person, you are engaging with their ego. An ego that is so fragile and demanding that it can never truly be satisfied. The reality is that narcissists don't want to change, not because they are incapable of change, but because they do not see any need for it. Their behavior benefits them, at least in their own eyes. As far as they are concerned, their actions are justified, and they are the ones who are always right. Any attempt to confront them about their behavior is often met with denial, deflection, or outright hostility. Narcissists have little to no capacity for self-reflection, and they are often quick to project their issues onto others. Instead of acknowledging their flaws, they manipulate others into believing that the problem lies elsewhere, typically with the person trying to address the issue. In many cases, narcissists will convince you that if you love them enough or try hard enough, they will eventually change. They might promise to be better, to listen more, or to treat you with more respect. These promises, however, are often hollow. They are merely tactics used to keep you invested in the relationship, to make you feel that if you just try a little harder, everything will improve. But this is a false hope. The narcissist is not interested in real change because they do not view their behavior as a problem. They see you, the other person, as the problem. They rarely take responsibility for their actions and often believe that any conflict in the relationship is the result of your shortcomings. This inability or unwillingness to change leads to a repetitive cycle of disappointment and emotional exhaustion. You might begin to question yourself, wondering why things never seem to improve, even when you're doing everything you can. This self-doubt is exactly what the narcissist wants. They want to make you believe that the issues in the relationship are all your fault and that you are somehow responsible for their behavior. This constant cycle of hoping for change and then being let down can lead to emotional burnout and a sense of hopelessness. The key to moving forward is recognizing that you cannot change a narcissist, no matter how much you may want to. Their need for external validation and their inability to self-reflect are not things you can fix. What you can do, however, is change how you engage with them. You can stop sacrificing your own needs for the sake of someone who will never acknowledge or appreciate your efforts. You can set boundaries, protect your emotional health, and refuse to invest further in a relationship that offers you no real growth or mutual respect. Accepting that you cannot change a narcissist frees you from the endless cycle of trying to fix someone who does not want to be fixed. It allows you to stop blaming yourself for their actions and start focusing on your own well-being. Instead of continuing to pour your energy into a relationship that is unlikely to ever change, you can begin to invest that energy into yourself, healing from the damage that the narcissist behavior has caused, and creating healthier, more balanced relationships moving forward.
Your dignity and self-respect are the foundations of your emotional well-being. They shape how you perceive yourself and determine the standards you set in your relationships. When you allow someone, especially a narcissist, to consistently disregard your needs and boundaries, you are undermining your own sense of worth. Narcissists thrive on control and manipulation, and part of their strategy is to erode your self-respect. They subtly convince you that your feelings, your opinions, and your desires are secondary to theirs, leaving you feeling insignificant and unimportant. It's essential to recognize that your dignity is non-negotiable, and no relationship is worth sacrificing it. Narcissists excel at making you feel as though you are lucky to have their attention, or that you should be grateful for the crumbs of affection they offer. They may shower you with praise when they need something from you and withdraw or belittle you when they don't. This inconsistent behavior keeps you on edge, constantly striving to meet their needs and keep them satisfied. In doing so, you start to lose touch with your own needs as you become consumed with seeking their approval. The longer you stay in such a relationship, the more your self-respect begins to erode. You might find yourself questioning your worth, constantly trying to prove that you are deserving of their love or attention. However, this is a dangerous cycle. It's important to recognize that self-respect cannot be conditional, and it should never hinge on the approval of someone who refuses to value you. Narcissists will often make you feel like your self-worth is directly tied to their perception of you. They will use subtle or overt tactics to belittle you, undermine your achievements, or dismiss your emotions. In their eyes, you exist only to serve their needs and fulfill their desires. The narcissist will ignore your boundaries and disrespect your time, all while demanding that you continue to give more. If you stand up for yourself or assert your needs, they will likely retaliate by guilt-tripping you, gaslighting you, or accusing you of being unreasonable. These tactics leave you feeling confused and inadequate, gradually eroding your self-esteem. Over time, you may start to feel that you are not worthy of better treatment or that you're undeserving of respect. In a healthy relationship, mutual respect and dignity are fundamental. Both parties should be willing to support and encourage each other. However, in a relationship with a narcissist, this balance is skewed. They are unwilling to respect you in the way you deserve because their only interest lies in satisfying their own needs. They do not recognize your individuality or value you as an equal partner. As a result, you are left feeling emotionally depleted and unappreciated. You may find yourself suppressing your thoughts, feelings, and desires just to avoid conflict, further compromising your dignity and self-respect. The key to breaking free from this dynamic is realizing that you don't have to tolerate behavior that diminishes your worth. Your dignity is something you must protect at all costs, and it begins with setting clear boundaries and refusing to accept anything less than respect. Standing up for yourself is not an act of selfishness. It's an act of self-preservation. When you protect your dignity and refuse to let someone trample on your self-respect, you send a powerful message, not just to the narcissist, but to yourself. You are reminding yourself that you deserve to be treated with kindness, fairness, and consideration. By walking away from a narcissist or refusing to engage in their manipulation, you reclaim control over your own self-worth. You make it clear that you will not allow anyone to define your value. When you choose to protect your dignity, you begin to rebuild your sense of self and restore your confidence. You start to recognize your own worth, independent of anyone else's opinion or treatment. This shift allows you to step into a healthier mindset where you value yourself enough to demand the respect and care you deserve. In the end, choosing to protect your dignity and self-respect is a powerful act of self-love. It's about recognizing that you are worthy of relationships that uplift you, not diminish you. It's about standing firm in who you are and refusing to settle for less than you deserve. When you make this commitment to yourself, you free yourself from the toxic cycle of narcissistic abuse and open the door to healthier, more fulfilling connections. Recognizing the importance of self-care is one of the most powerful steps you can take when dealing with a narcissist. Narcissists demand a great deal of emotional energy, often leaving you feeling drained, stressed, and disconnected from your own needs. For people who are empathetic and caring, it's easy to become absorbed in the needs of others, especially someone who manipulates your compassion to their advantage. However, in a relationship with a narcissist, this constant emotional giving comes at a significant personal cost. To protect your well-being, it's essential to prioritize self-care and learn how to create a boundary that allows you to focus on yourself. Self-care is not a luxury or something to be done only when you have time. It's an essential practice that helps you maintain emotional stability, mental health, and physical well-being. When you're in a relationship with a narcissist, their demands can easily consume your attention, leaving you neglecting your own needs in favor of trying to meet theirs. But self-care means setting aside time and energy for yourself, whether it's through rest, physical activity, pursuing hobbies, or nurturing relationships with people who truly care about you. Taking time to care for yourself helps to restore balance and prevent emotional exhaustion. Narcissists, by nature, tend to create environments of imbalance, where your energy is continually drained by their demands, and you are left with little to no room for your own needs. They often manipulate you into thinking that taking time for yourself is selfish or unimportant. They may guilt trip you, making you feel that you should always put them first, or they may play the victim, claiming they need you to support them. In these situations, self-care can feel like an indulgence, but it is far from that. It is a necessary practice for maintaining your sense of self and your emotional strength. Self-care can take many forms. For some, it might mean taking quiet time each day to relax and recharge, while for others, it could be engaging in activities that bring joy, like spending time with loved ones, reading, traveling, or pursuing creative passions. It's important to recognize that self-care is not just about relaxation. It's about maintaining your mental and emotional health in the face of constant stress. This could involve setting firm boundaries with the narcissist, saying no when necessary, or even taking breaks from interactions that drain you. Taking a step back from a narcissist can allow you to gain perspective, regain clarity, and prevent being overwhelmed by their behavior. Another vital aspect of self-care is learning to rebuild your self-worth, which can often be damaged by prolonged exposure to narcissistic manipulation. Narcissists are experts at making you feel small, unimportant, or unworthy. They rely on your emotional energy and your empathy to boost their own sense of self-worth, often at your expense. When you take time to focus on yourself, you can begin to reclaim your sense of value, This might involve engaging in activities that remind you of your strengths, reaffirming positive aspects of yourself, or seeking out support from friends or a therapist. Surrounding yourself with people who appreciate and respect you can significantly boost your self-esteem and remind you of your inherent worth. Self-care also involves emotional healing. Being involved with a narcissist can lead to feelings of confusion, guilt, and self-doubt, as they often manipulate you into questioning your reality. Taking the time to process these emotions and work through the trauma caused by narcissistic abuse is essential. Seeking professional help, whether through therapy or support groups, can offer valuable tools to navigate these feelings and rebuild your emotional resilience. Additionally, practicing mindfulness, journaling, and engaging in self-reflection can help you reconnect with your authentic self and gain the clarity needed to move forward. Ultimately, prioritizing self-care is not about being selfish. It's about ensuring that you can maintain your mental, emotional, and physical health in the face of narcissistic manipulation. By setting boundaries, taking time for yourself, and rebuilding your self-worth, you can protect your emotional well-being and reclaim your life. The healthier you are, the better equipped you are to handle difficult situations and relationships, and the more likely you are to make choices that align with your true needs. In a world where narcissists seek to take without giving, self-care is your most powerful tool to retain your integrity and your peace of mind. In relationships with narcissists, prioritizing self-respect, boundaries, and self-care is essential for preserving your emotional well-being. Recognizing your worth, walking away from toxic dynamics, and focusing on self-care empower you to reclaim your life, rebuild your self-esteem, and move toward healthier, more fulfilling connection.